Welcome to Studio Re. Today we will speak about the conflicts in Georgia, and to be more specific, we will speak about peace building between the sides of the conflict. And more than 20 years, representatives of the third sectors from Georgia, Abkhazia, South Ossetia have been involved in civic dialogue, and such activities are very useful, and peace projects are supported by international organizations. Such activities allow the conflict sides to get to know each other, fight alienation, and based on the common interest, do something beneficial. I think it would be better to listen to facilitators and participants and beneficiaries of such projects. The tele-discussion today is supported by European Union and the Development Program of United Nations named COBRN. Today we have Nino Gogolashvili, Executive Director of Caucasus Center of Civic Hearrings, Temur Arbolishvili, Head of the National Forum and Civic Forum, Natia, Montgomery, Head of Food TV, and here in the audience we have young people, participants of the projects, and students from the Institute of Conflict Management. Our journalist Nino Gelashvili, in the first block of the discussion, will review the news from Abkhazia, South Ossetia, and later Nino will speak about the news and review from Abkhazia and South Ossetia. Please, Nino, and I'll go to join the guests. Hello, we present news from Abkhazia and South Ossetia. And as you know, Georgia gets hardly any news about what happens beyond the division line. So we present a video blog produced by Abkhazian reporters for Studio Re. We appreciate that and present the news without any changes or modifications. However, our opinions differ on certain issues. October 17, 7 a.m., an explosion happened in the premises of Abkhazia State Television. A dead man's body was discovered on the spot. He was identified as a Russian Federation citizen Sergei Tarasenko, born 1971. Sukhum's prosecutor's office initiated a criminal investigation under the article of terrorism. 35-40-year-old man exploded himself in the premises of Abkhazia State Television. By visual inspection, he was identified as a terrorist who had an explosive bomb with himself. Our experts think that he was not acting just on his own. It was identified that Tarasenko was trying to attempt the life of Abkhazian parliament member Gana Kvarchi. October 2, Edgar Kursanti was arrested on suspicion of terror-linked act when he was trying to cross the illegitimate border between Georgia and Abkhazia. At the moment, he remains under custody. For the first time, a special economic zone is planned to be arranged in Gali, and Gali administration interim head Temur Natia, October 18. The parliament adopted a law on special economic zones in October 2015. The project is to substantially attract private capital and contribute to economic growth. 7,000 hectares are located in Lower Gali. The program will be a serious push for social and economic development of Gali and the country in general. This is a mega project, said Mr. Nadia. October 28, Abkhazia's Supreme Court delivered a verdict to murderers of Russian businessman Sergei Klementovich and his consort Oksana Skaradnova. They were murdered in September 2012 in Abkhazia. All criminal participators got 13 to 20 years sentence of high security imprisonment. The person who ordered the hit, Nordic Kvitsia, penitentiary imprisonment on Article 63 of Abkhazia's Criminal Code.
Признать Квициния Нодика Юрьевича виновным в совершении преступления на основании статьи 63 Уголовного кодекса Республики Абхазия.
As per the sentence, he was to be taken under custody in the court hall. And at present, he is fleeing from persecution and from justice.
На данный момент депутат парламента находится в розыске.
Mr. Minister, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Moscow. Mr. Minister, I congratulate you on your assignment personally as a Minister of Foreign Affairs of Abkhazia. November 3, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Abkhazia Darkova met Russia's Minister of Foreign Affairs Sergei Lavrov in Moscow. The ministers exchanged notes on mutual relationships and enhancement of Abkhazia's international standing. We have an agreement on legal basis, and more than 90 documents at the moment are valid, which shows how solid our relationships are. We are working on conclusion of new agreement according to the area stipulated by the Treaty on Strategic Partnership and Alliance. About 30 documents are being elaborated at the moment, and I'm very proud and very glad to announce that yesterday Russia's State Duma ratified the Treaty on Joint Military Forces of Abkhazia and Russian Federation. Russia plans to support Abkhazia on international arena, said Russia's Minister of Foreign Affairs Sergei Lavrov in the meeting with Minister of Foreign Affairs of Abkhazia Darkova. In Abkhazia, this meeting is considered extremely important and significant. This is a great opportunity to share notes with you on urgent issues in Russian-Abkhazian relations. With support of Russia and thanks to assistance of Russia, Abkhazia is sustainably developing and solving its social and economic problems. Our regular contacts contribute to cooperation between our countries in various areas. The positive dynamics in our relationships allows us to declare on our coordination in terms of settling our common goals and issues. November 10, President of Abkhazia Raul Hajimba met with the community of the country with participation of governmental members, members of the parliament, representatives of political and public entities, academicians, people of art. At the meeting, President talked about the complicated social, political and economic environment in the country. Most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, and I have said it many times, we prove to ourselves that we are able to overcome obstacles, finding inner resources, creating conditions for the development of our country and improvement of life for our people. And to reach this goal, it is of utmost importance to gain the support of our society, which is willing to stand temporary hardships related to the reforms and understand the necessity of the reformation and believes in their long-term outcomes. We have never promised you miracles. We have just asked for your support on the hard road of the reforms. So this was the most important news from Abkhazia. The blog is produced by Abkhazian reporters, and we presented the news without any changes. Let us look at the news digest from South Ossetia. With purpose of negotiations between advisors of council boards, Russian delegation arrived in South Ossetia headed by Rashid Nurgaliev. The visit lasted for 2 days. De facto President Leonid Tibilov inspected construction of State Drama Theatre of Kosta-Gurov and construction of the new fountain in front of the theatre. It was noted that the late November the fountain will be fully in operation in testing regime. Leonid Tibilov met with residents of Tskhin Valley. The residents of Tskhin Valley asked President to settle the issue of sales of agricultural products. The government chairman Domenty Kulumbakov spoke about support to agriculture by the government, in particular about support in selling fruits upon maturing. Kulumbakov offered to set up a store for storage of fruit where farmers can turn their products in. A comprehensive educational college in Tskhinvali was equipped with modern professional infrastructure. By invitation of Education Ministry, the college was visited by nurse association specialists who got acquainted with conditions for education of future specialists. Many residents of South Ossetia complain of poor quality of internet and mobile communication. The only provider in the market is Megaphone. Locals claim that the service is costly while quality is poor. In summer, young people collected signatures against the company. The issue is why there is no other provider in the market. Deputy Government Chairman Alan Takov complains that other companies are not interested in South Ossetia. The reason is a limited number of subscribers. In South Ossetia, there are about 55,000 subscribers. Part of this news ended up in Georgia's media, majority did not. Studio Re, a few months has been monitoring Georgian, Abkhazian and Ossetian media. We will update you with the results of the research a bit later. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome one more time. Thank you very much for coming to the studio, and hopefully your stories will be very interesting for our viewers. Nino Gogolashvili, first question. So, Nino, please tell us briefly what is your project about and the purpose of your project. Thank you very much for inviting to the studio. As for the project, we arrange meetings where Georgian, Ossetian and South Ossetian representatives and young journalists meet, and the main point of the project is confidence building, and let me sincerely thank United Nations Development Program for this initiative. So old contacts are being restored at the moment, and a very interesting discussion platform has been created where every participant is free to speak. Despite that, these opinions differ from each other. It's still very interesting, and participation in this format is something new. You always get new and fresh information, so listening to each other of utmost importance. Thank you very much. Our team in Yerevan, where first meeting was arranged, our team prepared a report. So please now let's look at the report. Georgian, Abkhazian and Ossetian colleagues gathered to exchange opinions on issue of their medium. The venue is neutral. Yerevan, capital of the neighboring country Armenia. The work language is Russian. Organizer of meeting is the Caucasus Center of the public hearings, and the participants had a month for preparation. And as it turned out, related to Georgia, there is no hate speech in media participants. Actually, as it turned out, the author says that Georgia, South Ossetia are not so intensive for hate speech to appear.
Это еще эмоциональная составляющая. Воспоминания минимум 8 лет.
Naturally, I think it was by inertia, and it happened a long time ago, and therefore, we should not express any hate speech towards each other.
Резко и жестко, унизительно в отношении врага. Это, скорее всего, инерционное движение.
After the war in Abkhazia, hate speech related to Georgians decreased. Talks were moved from wide public into small circles of people. Abkhazian reporter spoke about quality of Abkhazian media. He says 10-15 years ago, reporters made more profound reports. The reasons media tried to highlight fast, often with no double check. Newspapers were replaced with websites, which in some areas caused information vacuum. The Georgian reporter told the colleagues about the cases of hate speech in Georgian media related to Abkhazian, Ossetian and other minorities in Georgia. hate speech and xenophoby to lead to division of the society. We and they. So in this context, they become a legitimate object of violence. So and violence against them can be justified. That's a message. That's a negative message, and therefore the opportunity for peace is much less. Meetings between Georgian, Abkhazian, and Asian colleagues of different professions are often arranged with support of international organizations in the neutral grounds. Frequently, this is Yerevan. Participants claim that establishing and maintaining relations is of paramount importance. For me, and the previous meeting is important, as I can see that year by year, people I know well, they have grown up and they have become more clever, and which actually diminishes the potential for a conflict. Not because we became friends or we just reconciliated. We simply understand. We understand more profoundly the things, and actually this meeting is good because it is not designed to say that something that will change the world. This is just hearing each other. We hear each other and we speak, and we are not trying to settle some global issues. We are not planning and solve the world problems or problems of Georgia and Abkhazia. We just listen to each other and go to very serious issues. So this was the joint initiative, and the program has been conducted by the support of Program Coburn. So, Nino, we have seen very interesting review, and I'm just interested. Alsatian, Abkhazian, just audiences, have they agreed on criteria? Or, are the criteria equal for every side, or it was also arguable? People just differently look at the issue. Those participants whom we invited, 12 participants, all of them, which was unexpected to me, all participants claimed that use of hate speech in media is very bad, and hate speech actually contributes to violence and to tension between relationships. In Georgia, we have a lot of organizations and entities monitoring the media. Natia and Charter and different funds. But in Sukhumi, no one is doing any monitoring job. They became very interested in terms of monitoring, and Abkhazian colleagues really want to implement a similar institution in order to be able to monitor their media. That's very good. And next topic will be different, Nino. So the next topic, we have to hold 3 meetings about human rights, civic society role in peace building, and probably, I think, a visa liberalization process. Thank you very much. We'll get back to you. So, Natia, please, now let's talk about your project, and let's speak about its prospects. Thank you very much for invitation. I'm first time in your studio. It's very nice studio. I liked it very much, and you've got a professional and skillful team, and really your studio really just distributes a message. So thank you very much for the opportunity. To UND. Giving an opportunity to young people to participate in similar projects. These young people are allowed to get something fresh, a new charge, a new drive to say something new. So this is actually due to the credit of UND. I mean, bringing in difference into life of every person, every heart. So let's speak now about your project. So our project was very tasty project. This is a culinary project about cuisine. It was not just cooking food, cooking courses. It was in Armenia, in Yerevan, capital of the country. And we have food TV nowadays. It's a culinary television channel. I mean, how to cook in front of camera and do food styling. Just like clothes need some styling, exactly, food also needs to be styled on a plate. Different styles exist, I mean, very conservative, I mean, just obsolete, country, and things like that. Our participants chose different styles. They presented different cocktails, how to cook cocktails, to make and of course bread baking. I mean, artisan bread. Now, this is not Georgian bread. This is bread which you touch directly without any just baking machine. For example, Parisian bread, Italian bread, focaccia, ciabatta, etc. To make a long story short, it was so exciting. Please, sorry for interruption. Today you have brought a small report that reflects the meetings, right? I think it would be very interesting for the audience as well. And please just comment and let's continue. Yes, this is the moment of departure, and then here we are at the hotel, and we invited guest speakers, for example, Italian chef who told us how to cook pasta from the very beginning, and Cedric Mamlian, distinguished Armenian chef. This restaurant, which is a basic restaurant actually, I myself was born in Georgia, in Marneuli, and he cooked Armenian dolma. So, and just it is something fantastic, incredible. So, one only should taste it in Armenia. I do confess that it's something unbelievable, cooked with the queens. So, our trainings was not something like that. Someone personally cooks it. No, everyone was involved in cooking process, and we cooked different courses, different kinds of food. So that was sort of hands-on cooking. So the process of learning was extremely efficient, I have to say. And chocolate as well. I never thought that it was possible to cook chocolate at home, but it's very easy. It's even easier than cooking a cake. So we talked about cooking chocolate. Then finally we had a wording session, just granting some degrees, diplomas. So everyone was very excited. So then we arranged some teleshows on behalf of the participants. That was very enjoyable. And by the way, these guys turned out to be so gifted, so talented, that just we made a contract with him, and he will be anchor at Food TV. So only Abkhazians were there, right? So how did they get involved, and what do you think they can develop in the future? By the way, one of the courses was an Abkhazian course, and we were given a recipe by one Abkhazian participant. It's more like just, fusion studying, not just Georgian or Abkhazian. It was something really fresh. I myself learned culinary in New York, in culinary institution, and Actually, it was sort of extrapolated. It was very efficient, and one of the participants is here, and well, he might talk for himself. So what do you think how your project should develop, I mean, after this first meeting? So how do you see that? So you mean sustainability, right? Yes, that's true. So, well, sustainability, as we see it, I mean, Abkhazian participants, they want very much to have, just culinary show on Georgian TV. And second thing is that not just courses, but definitely you saw cocktails, how just we present the cocktails. One girl from Kazbeki offered to, in the boundary, just around the border, just to develop this practice. One of the Abkhazians is very good at handcrafting. He does fantastic things, very beautiful things, and he wants very much to sell his pieces of art in Georgia, and we helped him greatly. We supported. We will just hold his exhibition where he can sell his pieces of art. So, just a teapot covers. This is a piece of art. So, in order to wrap a teapot with handmade wrap. So it's something like when you cook matsoni, Georgian yogurt. So he sort of recovered a lost and obsolete tradition, and he's very successfully using it. We all remember those traditions from our grandmothers and great-grandmothers. So a lot of people expect him to offer his handcraft, and I'm sure it's going to be sold very nicely. So now let's talk with Mr. Temur. Temur has been doing this valuable job for many years. He just gathers Georgian and Alsatian young people, and Temur has been implementing a very interesting project. So, Temur, where were you this time, and what is the purpose of your project? Thank you very much for invitation. We are frequent guests in your studio, and of course, it's a great motivation for us. But speaking about that, after such a tasty talk, but we have the talk. But yes, I hope that we will be invited to your project too, and we will have an opportunity to taste chocolate and dolma as well. That's right. Let's join our projects, actually. That would be great. It's a fantastic idea. Let's get integrated. So, to be short, it's, a team of trust. Project is named like that. And this is sort of project that contributes to cooperation between young Georgians and Alsatians. It's based on the previous project. Earlier we had, Youth Express, very good project. And that project actually was more educational, but this one is more analytical, and therefore participants are youth and leaders of not only activists but leaders of different organizations in Georgia and South Ossetia. And selection was harder, despite the fact that there are many applicants, and I do welcome that, and I'm very happy that so many people try to get involved with projects like that. Temur, I know that we have just some stuff of yours, and I heard that you are going to make a movie. Now let's see the report, and please comment the report. Is that possible? This is one of the working days, and the project stipulated a few meetings. This is the first meeting in Serbia. And why Serbia? I will tell you about it later. and it was planned, 5 persons from each side, and then educational program in Warsaw, very profound program, and the cycle of meetings will be finalized in Yerevan, in a camp, and another 5 members from each side will be added, and at the end of the project we are going to make a movie, and the movie would be about the resources that are necessary for confidence building, for trust building. Besides, we will publish a guideline. The title is From Unacceptability to Trust, and it will be about the way each participant has gone from the first meeting where the degree of trust was very low, and how this trust level has changed from scratch up to the end of the project. This is the end of the project, and then a confidence group of Georgian associations will be created, and it will function independently of us. Very interesting thing was involvement of South Association side, their participation, and they positively remembered our old project with active participation of associations, and there were about 30 people. Actually, 30 people is quite a big number for Tskhinvali, do believe me. Definitely there were problems. Practically the Secret Service, still named KGB in Ossetia, made a lot of people just change their mind about participation. So conditions actually were very hard, but however they came here anyway, they participated anyway, so we do welcome that, because actually when they go back home, they don't know what to expect. So I think it's something like an heroism. It's a very brave act. It's a true example of bravery and courage. However, our message is you don't come here just to be recruited. You come here just to express, even if it's acceptable. For us, you should express, and you just say out loud. And this component strengthens our component, our arguments as well. And very important is involvement of young people, because we work in a different direction. And we work on mostly we are centralized on young people, because young people are more interested in conflict settlement. They just want to plan their life. Yes, of course, they have higher motivation degree, and they were not involved just in the opposition during the last 25 years. And we were offered very interesting stuff by our Ossetian colleagues from Tskhinvali. This is the polls conducted recently. This is mood research among young people and adolescents. On the one hand, the information is quite negative. About hate, but I won't use this term, hate, but unacceptability. And the other data show how desperate and hopeless these people are. And it's very interesting for us if we connect these two components in order to try for us to neutralize this unacceptability. It means that we have a lot of work. Thank you very much, Temur. Now I'd like to ask young people, participants of the project. And as Temur has said, they come from a very hard environment where people don't welcome the participation of young people just with Georgians. But still they managed to come here and get involved in the interesting project. So I'm interested, did you manage to establish business-like and friendly relationships with your Abkhaz and South Ossetians? So yes, I'm Georgi Tumasyan. I represent Peace Forum, and and I am the member of this participant of the Trust. Very interesting project. Of course, we have established very interesting and friendly relationships. At the first meeting, tension was felt because we did not know each other well. But as soon as we got closer to each other, we clarified certain things. We became friends, and a lot of areas naturally just were just pointed out. And let's not forget that by traditions and customs, our societies are very close, very similar. And in Serbia, environment is not very close to us, but we still managed to point out this Caucasian style integrity and friendship, and we just confirmed and we really just made sure that we can find common points at which we can cooperate and be friends. Georgi, this is expectation, right? So first, I mean, for the time being, you cannot determine the sustainability of relationships, you know. I can tell you for sure that we could see just very positive attitude of Abkhazians towards our group, and even today. I mean, a few weeks already just have passed since the visit to Serbia, and a few weeks are left until the next visit. Anyway, we still are in contact with each other about different points. One of the cases is, Peace Direct is very interesting information, which runs international network inside of conflict. And Arbolishvili is representative in Georgia, and initiated the meeting. We were offered with participation of both sides. The review of the visit. And the positive thing is that contact hasn't been, for the time being, with our side. I did try from Alsatians how they would be agreed to answer the questions. The questionnaire will be translated into English. It will be available for everybody. So I was very surprised, and I was very glad that I secured their agreement, and they are ready, even just considering that pressure from Secret Service, just to get acquainted, to get involved, and maintain the relationships with us. And they definitely confirmed their position to continue their relationships, and many of them even expressed their wish to come to Tbilisi, and for them maybe that would be something like a sacred dream, which makes us very hopeful and just fills us with hope that we will have better prospects in future. So now let me talk about the obstacles. So what obstacles did you register, and how did you overcome these obstacles? I'm Nino Kuparadze. I represent Civic Forum for Peace. I myself, 3 years, was a participant of Youth Express, where just Georgian and Alsatian young people travel together by bus in different countries of Europe. First, we were, of course, nervous. We were afraid how they would react. They were afraid how we would react. But, just gradually, step by step, for 2 weeks, we became friends. And the only obstacle could have been history and discussion of history. But we didn't even argue about that. We understood each other quite well. And we tried to understand when Alsatians told us about the histories on war. So we just took it very nicely, just with understanding, and our relationships after the projects have become even stronger. Today we have here the representatives of the discussion club, and now let's ask them. Bekadadashkeliani Institution of Conflict Management. So I'm just listening to your opinions about the implemented project. So first of all, let me comment. It is very important if we should create just a common civic platforms, and I'm very glad at that. And I mean, it's very important to bring all these people just into common public platform in order to just build peace and restore confidence. It's of paramount importance to restore the relationships. I mean, exchange of information will contribute to establishment of relationships, and this is an important factor. I mean, in order to destroy the image of enemy and change the relationships into the correct way. So, and this is significant because I know there is a principle, I mean, just named poor communication. We shouldn't allow this poor communication to hamper the development of positive relationships. We need just fresh dynamics of relationships, and these young people should see an example of constructive and positive changes. So all this should become a tradition. Thank you very much. So, yes, this is an issue. I mean, this is not actually happening everywhere, and not every young people can participate in projects like that. And I know that when you just bring beneficiaries and when you just announce tenders, well, we know that we are limited, not many funds work, so it's very hard to actually take Ossetians and Abkhazians, I mean, to finance their travel. Very often they don't agree to participate in projects financed by the Georgian side. So there are issues, but the desire of young people to get more information about that, well, I think we should take care of that. It's a subject of our care, and I'm very happy that young people are interested in the stereotypes that we actually gave up our hope and we just lost trust. No, it's not right. So what do you think? So how can we become it more popular, and how can we contribute to the development of interest? And I'm very interested in how your partners work beyond the division line. Do they contribute to the distribution of information about that? Well, as for the advertisement and promotion, is definitely necessary. And you just mentioned the degree of involvement of young people. And, for example, different polls show that for people, territorial integrity ranks number 3 or number 4. Yes, of course, many people now think about Georgian lari exchange, currency exchange rate, but still many people are just interested in territorial integrity of Georgia. As for the promotion, well, we have knowledge and experience. We meet students from different universities. We talk about different subjects in order to attract more and more people and to get more information. And when you are informed, the involvement degree is higher. On the other hand, a few months ago, we started publishing the forum, the magazine, and which also promotes this subject, regional conflicts and ways to settle the conflicts, and very well-known and interesting experts contribute to this magazine, and it is distributed for free. And yes, I agree about the funds. We have just very few funds working in Georgia, and we have to find some funds in Europe in order to managed to implement the projects. Therefore, we don't have many opportunities, just to promote in billboards, for example, get yourself involved with the project and things like that. We don't have resources like that, but working with each student is important and very efficient as well, and we can see the result and output. As for the association side, things are a little problematic here. I remember when we just made a documentary and sent to Tkhin Valley, I just remembered just old wartime films when we watched it underground actually before, and these films are shown just like that. 5-7 people just gathered underground, but but when we collected participants, our coordinator from South Ossetian organization in Tkhin Valley, actually we are Georgian and Ossetian parts of this organization. So, and our just coordinator would distribute the flyers and brochures just downtown. You saw how President inspected the building of Fountain and Theater, so it's just around the corner. So, and our coordinator was just standing near the fountain and handing around the flyers. Can you imagine? Just, and the president of South Ossetia was just about there. So, we just try to use every means, just every tool. And we also informed the administration, and we just persuaded him not to hamper us, but anyways, it did hamper to a certain degree. But so, just in short, just a wide promotion is impossible in Tkhin Valley. But through flyers and showing films and some discussions and having tea together, we have similar resources and we do that. There is no other way. It's not 55,000, but only 25,000 people live in South Ossetia, and in a small society like that, such activities are quite enough. How do you know just about this thing in Abkhazia? How difficult it is to find and get participants involved? Definitely, it's true, Mamuka. You know that, and I do think that we all are doing our best to get their trust and explain to them that our such events don't represent any danger to them. So I would say that we managed to convince our colleagues in Abkhazia and South Ossetia. I can say that I gained their confidence. It means my way is open, and I don't come across any challenges, but however, yes, some obstacles, yes, we may face, but I don't expect them to be many. So, and our target group is journalists and civil sector, and anybody who is interested in our meetings. So, well, for them, our doors are open. So, this dialogue must be very stimulating and motivating. Young people, interested people just must get involved and manifest some negotiations. We also did not know anything before. What we also learned, we also just showed interest, and I just call upon the young people sitting here in the audience to find the desire and willingness and to get involved. So now let's move to the next block of our discussion, and let's ask Nino Gelashvili to review Abkhazian Ossetian media. Studio keeps on reviewing most popular news from Abkhazia, South Ossetia. So how events are highlighted in Abkhazia and South Ossetia in the Georgian media, and vice versa. As in previous months, Georgian channels were not interested in similar things. An exception is a few reports on the arrest of a man near the division line, and the statements of official people where support of territorial integrity of Georgia is manifested. They also highlighted congratulations from official persons on the Day of Abkhazian Language. As it turns out, out news agency Newsport highlights Abkhazia and South Ossetia more than other agencies. Among them, there is a lot of stuff on events in Sukhumi and Tskhinvali. A silly war, we have nothing to divide. They had one video published by New Post, where a resident of Abkhazia proposes a toast to Georgia. The video has become very popular on the internet. Let's wish happiness and love to each other. We deserve this in Georgia and Samuzakana. We have nothing to just divide. We are just closest people to each other. In October and November, there was no hate speech in Georgian media, though the terms remain an issue. Georgians term Abkhazia, Ossetia, and local governments differently. They use the term Samachablo, which is not in line with local or international terms. South Ossetia noticed the term Samachablo used by a Georgian priest. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs declares that a Georgian church person meaningfully used the term, which is abusive for Ossetians. The analysis of Abkhazian and Ossetian media was provided by our colleagues from Tskhinvali and Sukhumi. Ossetian media many times use comments and abusive terms for Georgians and hate speech as well. The author of one of them is de facto president of South Ossetia, Leonid Tubilov, having referred to Georgians as non-humans, and the radio voiced the term killers in related to Georgians. Also, Ossetian media comments on the Euro integration of Georgia as one of anchor says, despite high living standards, the majority of Georgians believe in pre-details of Brussels and Washington about the brilliant future. As it is clear, in South Ossetia, people still expect some danger from Georgia. The fact that Tbilisi so far keeps away from terroristic acts in South Ossetia should not keep us quiet, says the statement. There are no cases of hate speech in Abkhazian media, though Georgia is still mentioned negatively. As a rule, the author is Ministry of Foreign Affairs. One statement comments on a phone conversation between Gelashvili and Joseph Biden, where Biden supported territorial integrity of the country. This is unacceptable for Abkhazian side. Sukhumi also commends the visit of Georgian delegation in Turkey, noting that Georgian politicians try to isolate Abkhazia from the Western world. It is all today. Next month we will present again the reviews of Georgian, Abkhazian and South Ossetia media. You may visit our website to get familiar with the results of our media monitoring. Thank you very much, Nino. Now, before we finish our discussion, we will have a very interesting quiz for you young people. I want to ask you a quiz question, and he who guesses will get a nice gift. Georgian Abkhazian audio diaries, very interesting piece of work. This will also help you to get a better picture of Abkhazian narration and their visions both on past and the future. Now, a question. Let's name the capital of Abkhazian Kingdom. So, Kutaisi. Excellent. So, did you want to say the same thing? Please, be honest. No? Okay, that's all right. Then tell me, please. Now, another question. Who was the first king of Abkhazian Kingdom? It's more difficult question, isn't it? I mean, when they got settled in Kutaisi. Leon II, exactly. So you, Georgi, I think you deserved this gift and this recognition. Congratulations. So, my friends, let me finish our discussion. Thank you very much for coming here. Definitely we will invite you in future. We will highlight your interesting projects. So see you next time. Thank you very much.